Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hey, if you're new here, this house that I'm working on right here behind me is a house that I bought from the Detroit Land Bank for $2,600. I am coming down the home stretch on rehabbing this house, and it's going to go on the market here in a few weeks. But today I'm going to give you a somewhat comprehensive guide on how to install gutters, because that's what I'm doing here today. I have these sections here behind me. You can see the longest section here on the job is this one right here. That's I think it's 27, 28 feet. And this is truly a DIY job because I am splicing together two 16-foot pieces because that's what was available at the box stores. I'm not having any gutter rolled off on site. And I can't say that I really recommend that. If you can have a seamless gutter rolled off on site, that is totally the way to go. I don't love it that I'm putting a seam in here, but the problem is to have a seamless gutter rolled off here, I would have needed to have 100 feet at the least to have someone come out and roll that off for me. So no one was willing to come out and roll off just this one section. And the smaller sections that I have here, like on my lower porch and in the back side of the house, my 16-footers that I got at Menards will easily cover the rest of it. And it is so much cheaper than to have someone come out and roll it off. So roll-off service here where I'm at is about $3.50 per foot. And from Menards, the gutter that I got is a 10-foot piece they had on sale was right around $1 a foot, which is ridiculously cheap. And then the 16-footers that I got were like $165 per foot or something like that. So it just didn't make sense to have it all rolled off at $3.50 a foot if I could get it at such a discounted price from the box stores. Then my only problem was the long section up here behind me, which I decided to put a seam into. I don't love it at all. I would totally recommend if you can have someone come out, just cut and drop for your longer sections. That would be the way to go. It's going to cost you a little more, and depending on where you're at, who knows if you have someone in the area that's going to be willing to come out and cut and drop something when it's just say a 130-foot section or something, because a lot of guys are going to want at least 100 feet or so before they actually come out and do it for you. But anyways, that's what I got for you today. I'll take you to the back and show you the sections that I have to do back there. I've got inside corners, outside corners, A elbows, B elbows. So I'm going to be getting into a little bit of everything today. And if you are a DIYer, this is truly DIY type of thing today, because everything that I got you can pick up at the box stores. So this is the back side of the house, and this is where I've got some outside miters to do up here. I've got a shorter section right here. So all in all, on the back side, it comes out to like 2 pieces of gutter, 2 downspouts that I got to run, in other words. And as you can see back here, everything was 16 feet or less. So no issues there. Most of your box stores, I think Lowe's, Home Depot, and specifically, you all know I like to shop at Menards. They all carry, I believe they all carry 16-foot pieces. So if what you're doing is 16 feet or less, you're going to be fine. You don't need any seams. If you have something over 16 feet, I will show you today how to do a seam. But again, I would actually recommend going seamless if at all possible. Anytime that you're putting seams in where you don't have to, just not a good idea, because nowadays it's so easy to have seamless gutter cut and drop at your job site or whatever. It's just, again, I already explained why I'm not doing that today. The only other thing that I'm doing here today that I don't totally recommend is installing gutter when it's cold. It's really cold here this morning, and that can be kind of a pain. The aluminum just gets cold and starts to get really hard to work with when you can hardly feel your fingers and whatnot. But the sun is coming up here, so it's not going to be too bad. I'm going to head out to the front, take some measurements, try to find the sunny area here to kind of actually prep and cut the gutter, show you how to do all that. So let me get started by cutting a section of gutter and prepping it for the front section. Now, I have a ladder stabilizer on here, and I totally recommend that for gutters, especially if you have a nice size overhang. There's almost no way for you to get out there and do what you need to do with your gutter if you don't have a stabilizer to push your ladder out away from the house a little bit. So I'm going to start by getting the overall length of this gutter from one end to the next, and to do that I'm going to actually measure on the roof and hook onto the shingles, because I want the gutter to go out past the edge of the actual fascia board just a little bit to where the shingles are, and I'll even add a ½ inch on each side past where the shingles are. Before I go any farther here, when I sat down to edit this video, I decided to take a little bit of a different approach, and that is I actually cut very little out of this. And instead of giving you the whole gutter job that I did, I'm only giving you this one section in this video, and you can come back and check out how I did like this lower section with the inside and outside corners. It was just going to get way too long, and I decided to try this approach where it's basically just me working. You're going to see me kind of do the whole thing. The length of this video is really about how long it took me to do it. I cut out a little bit of parts here and there, but mostly I just had my mic on and was kind of talking to myself a lot while I was doing this. So you're going to hear some of that nonsense in this video, but that's what I decided to do here. We'll see how that goes. All right, so mark at 15 feet here, and then come in from the other side and add the two measurements together to see what we need. And add 12 foot 3.5, and I'm going to add an inch to go ½ inch past each edge, so 12 foot 4.5 plus the 15. So now I am going to take those measurements, the 12 foot 4.5 plus 15, so we are looking at 27 feet 4.5 overall. And I'm going to take that right in half and make my seam be right in the center. If I'm going to have to see a seam, I'm going to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible and put it right in the center of the house. So I'm going to take that overall measurement and cut two of my 16-foot pieces right, what did I say, 27 feet 4.5. So I'm going to go half of that and cut the two 16-footers to come up with 27 foot 4.5. All right, so I'm going to start by putting a left side end cap. So this is the left side. It's going to go up on that end, and we want a left side end cap on here, and then I'm going to measure off of here to cut this section of gutter. So these end caps, again, you'll get them at the box store. They're just going to slip right on here like this. And then you can get a kind of crimper tool that crimps these edges in, but I don't have the tool, and I'm just going to use my vice grip. So you're going to kind of just clamp this end cap in so that it stays at least temporarily until your seam sealer dries. the big thing is to just hold it in place at least until your caulking in there dries. So I'm just going to pinch it shut the best I can with my vice grip. And then I'm going to take my seam sealer, and again, if you're picking up supplies at Home Depot or wherever, you're going to find some kind of gutter sealer that they have. It might not be this exact thing. This is the one Menards carries. It'll be right there with all the gutter supplies. You're not going to want to just use any kind of caulk. Make sure you get a legit gutter sealer, seam sealer caulk of some sort. And then at this point, with that end cap in place, you're just going to take your seam sealer and take it all the way around on the inside on that seam that from the end cap that you just put on. So now I'm going to add these hidden gutter hangers. There are numerous ways to fasten a gutter. These are the only ones that I really recommend. It's the most, they look the best and they hold the best. So for these, I measured exactly where my rafter tills are because I had marked that when I installed my fascia. And so I'm going to make sure that these go onto a rafter till based on the measurement that I got off the end. So we're going to have those right in place so that when I get up there with my gutter, they should be right on the rafter till and ready to just screw right in place. So the overall measurement of my gutter, 13'8". We're going to go ahead and cut that. So this is a pain to cut with your snips, and I have already put these on the miter saw and just simply cut them with the miter saw. It's another way you can do it. Take a sharp knife blade on the bottom side here because it's so hard to get your snips in there. All right, so all my gutter hangers should be in the proper spots. And now I'm gonna just measure in from the end because I made a mark up on my fascia at 6'5", and that's close to the center of my gutter, so that when I get up there, it's gonna be really hard to see the end and to take it half an inch past the end. So I marked 6'5" on the fascia. And now in order to take this gutter 1/2 inch past that edge, I'm going to mark 6 foot 5.5 and line this mark up here with the mark that I made on my fascia, and that'll tell me where to put the gutter in regards to the overhang, the edge of the roof, and how far out to go that way. Now this here is the hated seam piece that I really don't like, but we're going to slip that on here because this is how we're going to seam these two pieces together. All right, so right like that, that piece is ready to go up there, be installed. I'm going to leave this seam right like it is and then come in there with my seam sealer and caulk after the two pieces are together. At this point, I am headed up that ladder with a 4-foot level, a 1/4 inch drive, and the piece of gutter that I just prepped. Oh, and by the way, in case this even needs to be said, if you have a helper at this point, that's the way to go. That is the way to go. Now I'm just going to lay this 4-foot level into the gutter right now. And I don't think I mentioned this yet, but always start your gutter, whether it's a seamless or with a seam, whatever, on the high end. Start by taking the high end up against or as high as you feel comfortable going up to the drip edge, and then slope it from there as needed to the other side. So I always start on the high end opposite wherever your downspout is going to go. So this here is going to be the trickiest part for me, because oh man, this metal roof is really not. Let's see what I can do here. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Now, this is where I'm going to line up the mark that I made on here. Taking my left side up as high as I can, and I'm going to just peek at my level just to make sure we got slope. Wow. So the great thing here is it looks like the house, the roof line slopes in the direction that I want it to go, which is awesome. And my gutter hangers are off just a wee bit from the rafter tills. All right, here goes. This is so hard. Try to balance on this roof. I wonder if I made a mistake putting black gutters on here. I don't know if it looks cool or not. Very nice slope without even trying. All right. All right, so now that I got this piece up, I'm going to finalize the measurement of that last piece. Even though I had it approximately before, I'm going to get a final measurement. And I think I'm going to actually move my ladder before I do that, because I'm on the edge of things here. And I also wasn't able to reach my last two screws out on that end. So I'm going to have to go back and either hop up on the roof, grab them from up there or something. Man, not sure if I like the black gutter on here or not. Starting to wonder if I should have gone with white. Oh well. Oh well. That goes. I do not know if I appreciate the black gutters on this house or not. We'll see. So we got 11 feet plus 2 foot, 2 foot 8. 13 foot 8. That's exactly what I made the other piece. I mean, exactly. 13 foot 8. But I need a measurement for an outlet on this one. So now we're just taking what's left, 13 foot 8, and I'm going to cut it on the end that gets capped, because I anticipate having a little bit of a struggle connecting these splices, being I'm by myself up there. So I want a nice factory edge to slide into the splice end, because the cut end is going to be a little bit harder to get in there. I'm going to do the cut end on the end that gets the cap. So we are going this way. I'm going 13 foot 8 from that end. Oh. Now again, very hard to get 10 snips of any sort in there. So we're just gonna sharp knife blade the bottom side here, just like that. Another end cap going on here. So on this second piece, we obviously need an outlet for our water. And this is where you're going to want to determine if you want an A elbow or B elbow outlet. And what I mean by that is basically there are two different kinds of elbows. So you have this, which is considered an A elbow, and this, which is a B elbow. So now, since our outlet is over here on the right side of this gutter, depending on where we're actually running the downspout down through on the house determines whether we use an A elbow or a B elbow. So if we're running down on the front side of the house here, you're going to take an A elbow like this, and it's going to go in there right like this off the gutter, turn into the house and down. Now, if we're running on the gable side of the house, you're going to want to move the outlet a little bit and run a B elbow down and run down the gable side of the house. In this case, I am running on the gable side, so I'm going to be using B outlets. And first of all, I've got to find out where exactly that outlet is. And to do that, I got to get up there and measure the distance from the edge of the gutter in to where the corner of the siding, the corner post is. And that's where I want the outlet to come down and the downspout to come down right at the corner so that I can get that elbow and the downspout to run on the gable side of the house. All right, so this is an outlet piece, and that's what we want to put in here so that we can run our downspouts out of here. So this is going to drop in here like this. I got to cut out in the gutter. Again, this is totally DIY because, like, if you had someone with the real gutter tools, they have a hole puncher thing that can punch right into here. But in my case, I have to cut it out with the snips. Not a big deal. So for a B outlet, I'm going to want to turn it this way so that it's coming out of the gutter like this. So this is what the B looks like on here. So it's going to go like this. This flange is going to be inside the gutter. It's going to be coming out like that. Run back this way. Actually, I guess it'll be this way actually. But anyways, with it being A elbow, you were to turn it this way. With a B, we're going to go like this. So with my 19.5 is what I had, and that's to the edge. So I'm going to want to go 19.5 to the edge. And we're just going to trace this like this and cut that out. Now it's really hard to actually make a pretty cut with this, but the good thing is you really won't see this cut because the downspout elbow will kind of cover it up. All right, so something like so is what your outlet should look like for a B outlet. And we're just going to go ahead and put that seam sealer, the gutter sealer, all the way around that outlet. Don't be scared to use a good bit of this stuff around these outlets. It's hard to get these right on, but at least if you get them close, you can just tap them a little bit up there when you get up there if you have to. 16 inches. Like 2.5. 32 and a quarter. 32. And we're actually just going 16 from there. And right there. I'm ready for the second half of this longest section. Take it in there, and I know I'm going to struggle to actually slip it into that joint up there by myself because I have this big long section on the right hanging out, and it's a little bit hard to slip it into that splice there, but I'm going to see what I can do. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be hard. If I could move my ladder over a little, it would help. Let's see. Seriously? Is it going to be hard or is it going to be impossible? I don't know. I need a guy. I need help. Even if I had a hand right now, I wouldn't have a second ladder. There it is. There it goes. Whew. I got it in. Now, I feel like the slope's going to be ridiculous on this edge. And because, no, maybe not. Because of how little it needed sloping so far. Something right like that. Ew, that's not enough. That is not enough of slope. I'm gonna have to, let me see here. Yeah, I gotta go down. That's not enough. I don't know what I was doing there, guys. Let's try that. Let's see what that did. Yeah, that's slope. And I do not like giving it so much slope that it looks awful on the faceboard. And there's really no reason you have to do that. As long as you've got slope, whatever amount, it needs to be sloped. Doesn't need to be ridiculous. Some people slope their gutters so much that on the faceboard it looks like you're dropping off the end on the one side. And sometimes when the house is all out of whack, it's really hard to avoid that. But I am really happy with how this turned out, because the house was out of whack, but in our favor. So it's wonderful. All right. So there's that. I'm gonna have to come up here with my seam sealer right on this seam. And I'm also gonna stick a few screws, a few sheet metal screws. I have some matching black ones right into the top here, where there's a little tab on that seam thing that I had. There's a little tab that folds around. You stick a couple sheet metal screws in the top, and then we're gonna put a whole bunch of seam sealer on the inside of this, and we're good to go. And I'm almost ready for a downspout. Checking how this comes out. That is so great. I love it. So nice. The only thing I don't know about is how nice black gutters actually are on here. That I'm not sure about. Other than that, everything is wonderful. I feel like it looks kind of weird. I feel like the black gutters, I don't know. I need some black on those windows, and I do have some shutters going on those windows. Hopefully that makes it look decent, because right now I don't have a lot of confidence in my choice of black gutters right now. I lost a screw. Why would I not? There's a screw. This is really amazing, because looking at this, somebody's going to think I messed up really bad and didn't put any slope in my gutter, because when you look up at the bottom of the faceboard, the reveal on the bottom is the same about all the way along. Now this is an old house. I actually didn't know this when I decided to put my outlet over here. It's just where I wanted it, but it worked perfectly in my favor, because the roof line is sloped about exactly what I need from that end to this end, and it actually looks really nice, except that it kind of looks like it's not done right, because it looks like it doesn't have any slope at all when you look at the reveal on the bottom of the gutter. Anyways, it is sloped perfectly, but it doesn't look like it is at this point. I'm going to climb up here on the roof and finish that edge that I couldn't reach standing on this lower roof. So there's a few screws I got to just put in from the roof. So I'm going to get up on the roof to do that. Need my cougar paws. All right, perfect. Hopefully I don't have to do too much of that. Don't enjoy that a ton. Well, except that, I mean, I don't enjoy it a ton, but this ladder here is going to be hard to set up. Let's see if I can just finish this here real quick from here. Don't enjoy it a ton. Actually, all right. Well, now I have to move my ladder over, I guess. Oh boy, my ladder's slipping. Okay. All right, at this point, I'm ready for downspouts. Again, up here on this gable is where we're going, but I'm gonna take this up here like this. The main piece with the elbow on, stick this elbow onto my gutter and get a measurement in between there. So I'm working from the top down on this. Something like so. And then, oh man, it really does look like my floodlight is gonna be right where my downspout goes. And that's kind of painful to me, but oh well. All right, so we're doing something like this. I usually like to keep the downspout back from the corner post to the siding, just, I don't know, right around an inch. I think it looks a little better than running it right up against the corner post. And then I'm just going to take this measurement in between the two. It's 13 inches. So I'm going to add, what is it? Like an inch or a little more. Let me see. I think it's an inch and a quarter. So with that 13, I'm going to add 2.5 inches for the overlaps, inch and a quarter on both ends. So I'm going to go 15.5 on a piece of downspout to make that connection there. So I always cut my downspouts with a miter saw. Just make sure you have a fine tooth blade to do so. 15.5. So next, I'm actually going to get my downspout clips in place here. So this is what's going to hold the main part of the downspout. Screw this with some exterior screws into the siding, and then you're going to put some black sheet metal screws or matching to your gutter color in the side, and that's what's going to hold your downspout. All right, so now I'm going to take the first 10-foot section and the elbows and assemble it, and then just take it up there and pop it into place. So this is my first 10-foot section. So we're going to want to slip the first elbow inside of that. So this is the section going against the house. And then this slipping inside of that is going to turn away from the house. Now the piece that we cut, now the 15.5 inch piece that I cut is going to slip inside of this elbow. Having a little bit of trouble getting it in there. There we go. Like so. And then obviously this one, it's got to go inside of here. All right, so now I've got this all assembled, and before I actually put the screws in there, I'm going to take it up just so that I can move it around a little if I need to get it in place. But then once I have it in place, there's going to be 2 screws put into each of these to hold them together. 2 screws for the part going up into the outlet in the gutter, and then 2 screws into those clips that I just put on the siding to hold the main part of the downspout in place. So we'll go up there and pop it in place. All right, right like so. This works out really nice, actually. Uh-oh, come on. All right, so I am gonna start with 2 screws to hold the main part of this downspout right here. Okay, let's see if I can reach all this. Let's screw in the top side here. And you will want to be careful of where you put the screws in the elbows, especially where you have horizontal, so that you don't have leaks. Like, you don't want to screw up the bottom, and that should be obvious enough. And the sides is fine. It's not any screws into the bottom. And like in that case there, just put one in the top. See if I can reach one out yonder. Oh my goodness. That is a stretch. That is a stretch. Oh, I got it. All right, so now we're going to finish off the bottom part of this. That's pretty simple. We're just going to measure from wherever this kicks out with an elbow up to there, cut a piece of downspout, and finish it off. Now, I did mess up a little bit here. Didn't realize my gas meter was this close. I'm not sure if it's going to bypass, and I might have to put a B elbow and run it this way. I was originally hoping to do an A elbow and have it kick out that way, but it's really close to my meter. I'm not sure it's going to work out. So let's just see what happens if I go, yeah, I don't know. So close. I think it might work. We're going to give it a shot. So I'm going to hold an elbow down here about where I want this to go. Measure up to this one. So it'll be something like that. 86, add 2.5 is 88.5. I'm going to cut that piece of downspout and I'll be right back. So the upper one has got to slip inside what we're doing on the lower, and that's got to go inside of this A elbow. And since I don't have a factory that is crimped down, I'm going to have to put my own crimp in this to get it inside of this elbow. There's a tool for this as well, to crimp these so that they'll fit inside. I don't have the tool, so I use my vice grip. I'm just going to pinch it in all the way around, kind of pull in those edges and slip it inside. Sometimes you might even have to put some cuts into it, which is not that big of a deal. You can do that if you need to. And just kind of, it's very ideal to have a crimping tool here. This is maybe one of the worst parts of not having the proper tools. So I'm going to go ahead, let's put a few little cuts right into the corners so that this will crimp better. Sometimes I can get it in without doing any cuts, but it's really not a big deal to do this. You just make sure you get it sent inside there pretty far, then past your cuts. So this will, or should, allow this to slip inside. Man, so ridiculous. Too close to the meter. Okay, so I got that in up there, and I'll wedge that in back there, and it's gonna work. It is gonna work. So, right like this. Screw that in. All right, so that is that piece of gutter. Basically done with that. I'm gonna come back later and add an extension to that bottom there and kick it out a little farther, but I'm gonna wait to see what leftover pieces I have in the end.